Good evening and salutations, my GH fans. So let's talk about Carly and Olivia. So after Carly's acidine decision to sell half of her shares towards this venture of Michael and Drew, that wasn't a sure thing, even though she told Olivia, "Oh, I was so sure it was a sure thing." Even after Michael and Drew told you it's probably not a good idea, she decided to do it anyway. So Olivia was like, "I'll buy half your shares. You can sit there and pay me back over time." And when Carly was like, "But you don't have the money to do that," and Olivia was like, "Well, me and Ned will sit there and talk about stuff." And right then and there, Carly was like, "That's not going to work," because she feels like taking some of Ned's money will be like a betrayal towards Michael and Drew, and she just can't do that. But with that being said, okay, where are you going to get the money from? You can't come up with the money by yourself. You're not going to sit there and take Olivia's help. So what's good? And of course, at this point, they both see Sonny, and Olivia was like, "Yeah, you should probably ask him for, hit him up for some money." Now, I feel like at this point, she's probably gonna have to do that. And again, it was just such a stupid decision for so many reasons because not only was it not a sure thing, but if this was just her money, I'd be like, all right, whatever, you do you. But and granted, it's not to sit there and say that the hotel's going to close or anything like that. But if this group, is managing, is also co-managing the hotel, that affects your employees as well. So I felt like in a lot of ways she was sitting there gambling with the employees' future as far as being there. Because the new owners can come in there and be like, "Yeah, I'm going to sit there and lay off 5% of your workers." So it was acidine and it was pretty selfish. So I'm going to be honest, some of the conversation that Josh and Trina was sitting there talking about was kind of stupid. Particularly when they started talking about Rory and, Trina was all like, "Oh, Rory put Esme on notice and, he totally outmaneuvered her." And I was like, how? All he did was ask her to, borrow her phone so this way she could put a number in there that can sit there and help with her situation. And she said no. So, in what shape or way, form was that outmaneuvering Esme at all? I don't really understand why she was sitting there celebrating that for like a good nearly 2 minutes. And I'm like, you didn't really actually do anything. The only thing that you managed to do was, be another target for Esme. And seeing how, he's already a rookie cop and she's already been like 5 steps ahead of everyone else. And hell, even Trina was like, "Yo, you don't want to sit there and mess with her because she's already screwing up my life, and I don't know if I'll be able to stop her." Again, where's the celebration at? Cam and Spencer. So Spencer comes up with this plan, and he tells Cameron about, "Oh, well, you know what I'm going to sit there and do is I'm going to get Esme parents, I'm going to get the info on Esme parents or her mom or whatever, and use it as a bargaining chip to get a confession out of Esme." And Cam was like, "Well, after him talking about it, Cam was like, "Well, that's a great idea." I was like, "No, that's a really stupid idea." Why? I mean, not to sit there and say that she wouldn't care as far as trying to get the information from Spencer, but I feel like it's not worth jail time. Spencer was like, "Oh, well, don't worry. I'll give you a head start." And Cam was like, "That's a brilliant idea." And I was like, No, it's not. That's pretty stupid. Like, once you admit to her that you don't believe her and you're on Trina's side, your plan is to sit there and bluff your way through this. And so after he gets Cam on board, he's like, "Good, because it was all a lie." And I'm like, what the idea was to sell it as a convincing story. And Cam bought it up. And I'm like, okay, so now this is even worse because Spencer doesn't know who her bio mom is. Doesn't have a DNA or anything like that, doesn't have her DNA or anything. And I'm like, so not only this is a bluff, which is a bad idea, but this is even worse because now you don't even have anything to bargain with. You just assume that you're just going to be such a great liar and so smooth and cavalier that she's going to have no choice but to sit there and confess and exonerate Trina. So let me get this straight. Your plan goes from sitting on your ass and doing absolutely nothing and waiting for her to slip up, and now you're because that didn't work, and because you just been bumbling up this plan so far by throwing attitudes at her and pushing her away when you should be sitting there trying to get her closer because you're so jealous of Trina and Rory together that you slipped up, and now another one of your great ideas is to bluff your way into getting a confession. Okay, yeah, I don't really see why that wouldn't work, except for 1,000 different ways, but whatever. I get that they are not adults and they're kind of, they're still kind of teenagers. And to be fair, it's not like the adults have been doing that much better until recently with Marshall. Up until that point, Curtis is a PI. He's like, oh, well, we're gonna sit there and get through this. You're gonna find some clues and things of that nature. I mean, not that long ago, you were sitting there dumpster diving with Drew, and now you're just like, what? Just keep hope alive? Or now we're gonna do something because Marshall came through. So I'm not just gonna sit there and put all the blame or all the smoke on Spencer's plan. Um, in a lot of ways, the scene between Brooklyn and Sonny was pointless because Brooklyn met up with Sonny to try to see if Sonny can, scare Link into, retracting the statement. And Sonny was like, I can't do it. She's like, well, what do you mean you can't do it? It's like, no, I can do it. But if word got out that I helped Chase, he's going to look like a dirty cop. And that's not going to really put him in a better position. Hell, that's actually going to make him in a worse position. So the plan, the whole meeting was to sit there and try to get Sonny to help, and he tells her the reasons why he can't help. Now, he does allude to the fact that, okay, well, just because I can't sit there and do anything to Link doesn't mean that I can't sit there and try to persuade the board to sit there and, favor Chase. But again, that would still be a favor, and it would leave Chase right back in square one. So, makes this scene entirely useless. I mean, Brooklyn was on Sonny's side as far as dating Nina, so he has maybe 3 supporters or 2. I don't know at this point. As I'm sitting there thinking about this Sasha scene, with the paparazzi. Long story short, she did wind up taking the stuff, and gave him the credentials or whatever, so this way he can get access into their home shopping network event or whatever. Now, the paparazzi is like, Sasha, you're looking a little bit down. You look like you could sit there and, get a little pick me up. And I'm looking at this whole thing, and I remember not that long ago when we had the other Brooklyn, I think. And Sasha was there, I guess, showing this new investor or whatever, as far as like the cosmetics. And her hands kept shaking because she was taking so many pills. And, towards the end of the episode, she decides because the pressure or whatever is just it's getting to her. She decides to sit there and, take a couple of happy pills. I'm sitting there thinking, Did you not learn your lesson from the last time when you was trying to put on eyeshadow or whatever to sit there and show this new investor like why she should invest in your company? And now, because here's the thing. When she gets to deception, when she gets to the meeting, whatever, Lucy's like, all right, we got a last couple, we have some last minute changes. And Sasha was working so hard on trying to memorize her lines and things of that nature. And last minute, now she has to sit there and try to learn a whole new routine or whatever. So she's on edge. It gets to a point where she blows up at them and she apologizes and they're like, nah, it's cool, whatever. We're a team and yada, yada, yada. And I'm like, yo, personally, I would have been kind of pissed. Okay, I would have been kind of pissed. I can only imagine what time you had to wake up in the morning to kind of get things done and get ready and things of that nature, makeup, and hair, and looking all glam and stuff like that. I'm not a woman, but I'm pretty sure that took a long time for Lucy and Maxie to kind of come up with that outfits and stuff like that. My point is, waking up that early in the morning, dealing with Sasha and hearing her yell and scream at people or whatever, I felt like it would have been a bit of a tension moment. But because of plot, they're like, nah, it's cool. We're all a team and yay and all this other stuff. Um, so Sasha again, towards the end of the episode, she winds up taking the happy pills, and I guess we're just gonna sit there and watch sometime next week the disaster of whatever this event's gonna be. Because let's be completely honest, Sasha was not okay before she took the happy pills, and given her track record when she does take that stuff, she's usually off a lot of times. Um, Especially when it comes towards presentations and things. I mean, the only time that she was actually good was when she took a photo shoot because she really didn't have to really do anything except for just stand still. Hmm. So Case is meeting up with Gregory and Fenn and just kind of going over his history. Well, after he tells both of them, about his job status, suspension without pay and everything like that, and the reasons. Well, the second reason why he got suspended, it's a pattern. It's a pattern which leads to bad decisions, which is why I said that Brooklyn is toxic. Here's the thing. I don't think that Brooklyn's a bad person. I think that the things that she does, the lifestyle that she leads, hooking up with Link and stuff like that and getting all up in his face and, the fact that the things that she does, there's very little consequences because, well, let's be honest, she's rich. Um, she just has a way of leaping before looking, and that's not Chase's style. And while you can't blame Brooklyn for Chase's bad decisions, as far as hitting Valentine and then hitting Link, and how he even sits there and talked about, he was going to hit Link before, but Brooklyn kind of beat him to the chase. But, with that being said, there's a pattern. And, Gregory's like, oh, well, I'm not going to sit there and come down on Brooklyn because, she really stepped up when you were feeling kind of down and cold and everything like that. And I'm just like, sure, this isn't a point where you should kind of step in and be like, maybe Brooklyn is probably not a good choice for you. Because ever since you've been with Brooklyn, you've been making some really bad decisions. I mean, granted, Chase does bring up now. But, Gregory's like, yeah, okay, I get that and that was bad, but you're young and you're making stupid decisions back then. Now you're older and you're making bad decisions and you don't have a job, which means that you're going to be broke unless you try to find some sort of security job or whatever. That's one of the things that Brooklyn was they're talking about with Sonny, as far as, working security or whatever. So for some odd reason, Ava is still going along with this whole divorce thing. She's going to get half of the assets, And she says that, Nicholas is doing it as a sign of good faith. And I'm just like, Ava, you're usually, there's been times she's usually been more smarter than this. Okay, this whole divorce to sit there and start over again just seems pretty off. Now, she says she doesn't want to do it because she doesn't want to tempt fate. And I'm sitting there looking at this like, does it really matter if you're divorced or if you're divorced or not? Because if you guys are going to implode, you're going to do that with or without rings. So if she's, the fact that she's apprehensive because she's like, well, I don't know if this is actually going to sit there and work out. I feel like we're tempting fate. What's the difference? You two both have trust issues, and yeah, you can be great together, but you can also be very toxic together. So it rings or no rings, it really doesn't matter. Now, Esme comes over, and Esme, I felt like she kind of laid a veiled threat when she came by, and she was like, "Oh, I, I didn't know you were gonna sit there and tell Ava." Now Ava's like, tell me what?" Now, of course, Esme makes up something like, "Oh, well, I'm going to plan a surprise for Spencer, and I didn't really think that you're going to be too interested in it. But Nicholas, I need your help. I need your sit there and talk or whatever." So they go over to the side, and Esme wants to sit there and try to work back at Spring Ridge, and feels that Nicholas has connections. Now, at first, Nicholas is like, I don't really know if that's a good idea because, Kevin already said no, and if I go over his head, then I have to sit there and deal with my mom, and that's a whole lot of hella issues. I don't really know if that's a good idea. And, Esmer's like, yeah, no, that's fine. That's what I get for, it's like the universe, and if they tell me, because I slept with you. Could you say that any louder? Do you need a bullhorn? Like, but with that being said, Nicholas agrees to help her, and she hugs and everything like that. Um, so they go back, and I guess they get their little. Well, actually, to tell you the truth, and I was gonna sit there and say they wasted Scotty's time, but Scotty's getting paid, so it really didn't matter. But at the end of it, Nicholas and Ava both said no. It was like, all right, we're not gonna sign the papers. I'm like, then what the hell are we? But Esme is there now. Spencer's Spencer's plan to sit there and try to go with this lie is to sit there and get DNA from Jocelyn and Carly. So Cam convinces him, like, yo, listen, if I'm going, you're going. They both get down there, they know their assignments, and Cam goes there first, and, Cam was like, all right, you got my back, right? And Spencer's like, yeah. Spencer, you really got my back, right? Yeah, I said, yeah. So he goes down there, and I guess he starts talking to Jocelyn and Trina. And of course, Jocelyn knows that there's something off about Spencer. He's like, you look. I mean, Cam. He's like, you sound a little kind of off. Now, just as Spencer is about to go there and I guess start whatever this whole plan is going to be, Esme comes in. So, pretty much put a kibosh on his half-baked, stupid-ass plan. Because let's be honest, it's dumb. I mean, listen, if anyone actually thinks that his plan is actually smart, please tell me why. I don't, what I'm saying? Like, when people sit there and write things in the comment section, I don't really debate it, I'll sit there and comment and message and stuff like that, but I genuinely want to understand if anyone thinks that what Spencer's plan is a good idea. And if so, please tell me, because I maybe I'm missing something. I feel like that's about it. Not a great episode, not a terrible episode, just kind of a middle of the road episode. Um, didn't really answer a lot of questions. Didn't really seem like it went too far. Um, except for the fact that Sasha is they're taking the happy pills again. But other than that, it's just your typical episode. Now, I don't think it's going to come on Monday because they were like, oh, well, next week, like next. I don't really feel like it's going to. 1 second. Yeah, since Monday is the 4th of July, I don't feel like it's coming on, but I could be wrong. I feel like that's pretty much about it. So with that being said, I'm going to go. I want to thank you for watching. Be safe. Let me know what your thoughts are in the comment section. Have a great, safe, amazing weekend, and I will see you in the next video.